Sharing files and folders is where we see some of the biggest differences between MyDrive and shared drives. In this video, we'll walk through the types of permissions, advanced options, and external sharing. Sharing can generally happen at multiple levels in Drive: file, folder, or drive level. Icons of people on folders and next to file names tell you at a glance that the file or folder is shared. In MyDrive, you can share files and folders, but can't share your entire drive. In shared drives, you can share at the file and drive level, but cannot assign different permissions at the folder level. For both MyDrive and shared drives, permissions cascade, meaning that if you have access to a folder, you also have access to the files inside. And the permissions are additive, meaning that if you're sharing a folder with someone but do not want them to have access to one file in that folder, you can't take permissions away from that one file. Let's start with file sharing. The interface for file level sharing in MyDrive and shared drives is slightly different, but all the options are the same. In this demo, I'll be starting with MyDrive. There are two places to access your sharing permissions for files. In Drive, you can right-click and select Share. And if you're inside a G Suite file, you can choose the Share button in the upper right. So first, we type a name or email address of the person or people we'd like to share the file with. You can also share with a Google Group email account, and that will both cut down on the number of email addresses you'll have to type, but it'll also dynamically update permissions as the membership of the Google Group itself changes. If you'd like to learn more about Google Groups, check out our Google Groups at NC State video. Next to the name field, we can choose a type of access: edit, comment, or view. We'll talk more about commenting in our collaboration in MyDrive and shared drive segment. After I've entered a name, we get a few additional options. You could include a message that will be included with your notification email. It's a great idea to let people know why you're sharing a file with them and if they need to do anything. Typing your message here saves you from having to write a separate email and saves your recipient from receiving two messages. If you don't want people to receive an automated email that a file has been shared with them, you can uncheck the Notify People box. This can be helpful if you'd prefer to send your own email with a link to the file and want to cut down on the number of emails people receive, but we do strongly recommend that you notify people in some way that a file has been shared. Note that after I've shared this file, my Share button now has a person in it, which lets me know that it's a shared file. Back in the sharing settings, in the top right, we have Get Shareable Link. Link sharing is a way to share files without having to specify individuals. The default is anyone at NC State with link can view. Note that the Share button now has a little building added to it. This is how I can tell that the link sharing is on without having to click on it. This does mean that people will need to be signed into their NC State accounts and click the link to view. I can click the down arrow and choose a few more options, or more and choose even more options. I can also choose to turn off link sharing, and people who still have the link will no longer be able to access the file. Tucked at the very bottom right of the dialog box, we have Advanced. Clicking this expands our sharing options. Here we can see everyone who the file is shared with and make changes. Note the is owner distinction. File owners can do two things that no one else can do: delete the file and change ownership. To make changes to permissions, click the down pointing arrow next to the type of permission. If you change ownership, you will receive a warning confirming the change. Note the Set Expiration option. For comment and view access, not edit, you can set an expiration date after which access to the file will end. Last in our file sharing settings, we can limit the ability to change access or to add new people and disable download, copy, and print for viewers and commenters. Just note that neither of these options is foolproof. People still have the ability to take screenshots or photograph their screen. These are all the options available for file level sharing in both MyDrive and shared drives. But here's a quick look at how the interface differs in shared drives. Almost all the same options are available, it just looks slightly different. One option that you do not have is the ability to change ownership, because in shared drives, NC State University is already the owner. Let's move on to talking about folder sharing. Note that folder sharing is only available in MyDrive. To access folder sharing settings, right-click on the folder and select Share. You'll see that many options look very similar to file sharing, including how you share and giving link access. Your default permission levels are slightly different. You can choose between Organize, Add and Edit access, or View access. In our advanced settings, we can change ownership, modify permissions, and limit the ability to add contributors. Let's move on to drive level sharing. As a reminder, you cannot share your entire MyDrive with someone, although you could make a folder containing all MyDrive contents and share that, but shared drive permissions do operate at the drive level. We'll cover shared drive permissions and sharing extensively in the Creating a Shared Drive and Managing Permissions video. Sharing with people outside of NC State University can differ a little in MyDrive and shared drives. For MyDrive files and folders, you can share files in the normal way with people who have Google accounts, like @gmail.com addresses, or where you know the institution uses G Suite, like an @uncg.edu account. You will have all the same options with a Google account as you do with an NC State account. If the person does not have a Google account, you'll have to use link sharing, such as anyone with link can edit to grant them edit access to the file. In shared drives, external people with Google accounts can be members of the shared drive. If the person does not have a Google account, they'll need to be granted file access to individual files using link sharing. Stay tuned for even more videos on getting the most out of Google Drive.
members
If
or
you
share
have
files
questions, use
outside
the
of NC
IT
State
Service
can be
portal
turned
at
off by Shared Drive Manager.
help.ncsu.edu and check out all of our G Suite trainings at go.ncsu.edu/learnit.